Scary Movie 2026 is one of those movies where the story is hanging on by a thread, the dialogue is barely trying, and somehow I still had a good time watching it. Before I get into it, like and follow if you're into movie reviews where we actually say what we think. The movie brings back Cindy, Brenda, Shorty, Ray, Doofy, and the rest of the old chaos while throwing in a new generation of characters being stalked by Ghostface. On paper, it is another reboot sequel where the older characters return, the younger cast gets dragged into the mess, and the killer targets everyone connected to the originals. In reality, the plot is mostly an excuse to jump from one parody, cameo, sex joke, pop culture reference, and random gag to the next. And honestly, that is both the biggest problem with the movie and the main reason it works. The story is barely coherent. Characters show up because the movie needs another joke. People disappear for long stretches, then walk back in like they were waiting off camera for their cue. The Ghostface mystery does not feel like something you are supposed to solve. It feels like the writers remembered every 15 minutes that this is technically still a slasher parody, so they throw in another phone call, stabbing, or obvious suspect before returning to whatever joke they actually wanted to make. But the movie knows what kind of nonsense it is selling. The opening scene with Tiana Taylor sets the tone immediately. Ghostface tries to recreate the classic phone call setup, but instead of becoming helpless, she turns it into a street fight, calls in backup with a bird signal, and beats the killer down. The scene is loud, stupid, self-aware, and completely uninterested in real suspense. It is basically the movie announcing that horror logic is not surviving the next 2 hours. Some of the dialogue is rough. A lot of characters do not really talk to each other, they just wait for their turn to deliver the next punchline. You can practically feel the screenplay moving down a list of current topics: streaming, pronouns, TikTok, crypto, celebrity scandals, legacy sequels, AI, OnlyFans, politics, and whatever else was trending when this was written. Not every reference lands, and some already feel dated. Still, when the jokes work, they really work. Shorty checking his crypto, going up $3 million, and then immediately dropping $5 million, is exactly the kind of quick, stupid joke this franchise does well. The hospital sequence where the nurses are more worried about keeping their jobs than saving Tuesday is ridiculous, but the escalation kept making me laugh. Doofy hiding from COVID years after the pandemic ended, then instantly returning to police work once he finds out, is such a dumb character beat, but it fits him perfectly. The church scene with Ray is another example of the movie committing so hard to one joke that it becomes funny through pure exhaustion. It keeps going, gets more inappropriate, and refuses to stop after the point has been made. That will annoy some people, but this has always been the Scary Movie style. These movies do not gently set up a punchline and move on. They beat the joke into the floor and somehow find one more line to add. The best part is seeing the original cast bounce off each other again. Cindy and Brenda still have that chemistry where every conversation could turn into an insult, a hug, or somebody getting shot. Brenda pretending to be wounded with ketchup so Cindy will go back into the house, then admitting she is not taking her black ass back inside, felt exactly like the kind of joke this reunion needed. Shorty, Ray, and Doofy are not suddenly deeper characters, but they do not need to be. Their personalities are the joke. The movie is also honest about why it exists. It openly mocks legacy sequels, reboot culture, Hollywood running out of ideas, and studios bringing back old characters because nostalgia sells tickets. The characters literally explain the reboot quote formula while standing inside one. That self-awareness does not fix the weak story, but it makes the laziness easier to accept because the movie is at least laughing at itself. The final reveal is ridiculous, but in the right way. Instead of pretending the mystery matters, the climax becomes an argument over who owns the franchise, who was left out, who got replaced, and who deserves to come back. The appearance of Anthony Anderson and Shaq pushes everything even further into nonsense. By that point, the plot has fully given up, but the movie has enough energy that I did not really care. What almost held it back was how desperate some jokes feel. There is a difference between being offensive because the joke is sharp and just naming a controversial topic because the movie wants a reaction. Sometimes it gets that balance right. Other times it feels like somebody shouted, "Mention this celebrity, mention that scandal, now add a sex joke," and called the scene finished. Real talk, this is not a well-written movie. It is barely even a properly structured movie. The dialogue is weak. The story has no real flow, and the Ghostface mystery is mostly decoration. But comedy can get away with a lot when it actually makes you laugh. And this made me laugh often enough that the flaws never ruin the experience. That is the whole argument here. Scary Movie 2026 is not good because of its story. It works because it understands that people came to see familiar characters act stupid, horror movies get mocked, celebrities get dragged, and every serious moment get destroyed by the dumbest possible punchline. So yeah, I'm giving Scary Movie 2026 a solid 7 out of 10. It is messy, immature, inconsistent, and probably going to age terribly in places, but it was also fun, enjoyable, and fun enough to make the whole chaotic experience worth watching. What did you think? Was this a real comeback for Scary Movie, or was the nostalgia doing most of the work?